And how could he know that when he said this before the fire has stopped? And actually before the fire reaches his house. I was not there when you chased the creature out of town. And they thought he was like, he was 69 years on the same day. He was born 22nd of January 1835. He says he has this angel visit 22nd of January 1904. And he reaches to die 22nd of January 1914. Then he was 79 years old. And he was actually an old man. In Norway, they got like 82 years old approximately in Norway now. At that time, maybe younger. He was 79, but he had no endurance after this. He was inside there. No smoke endurance, no lack of oxygen, no heat endurance. And you see the windows, it's original windows. They're not broken. And this house is from 1871. And as I said, the prison downstairs, down the hill, it's not far from here. It's totally outburned. It was of brick and stone. And they had so much trouble keeping the fire away from the restaurant, even though there were no trees at that time. People don't believe it, but you can ask whatever Norwegian you want. Norway had lack of timber in 1900s.
So we cut them down.
Yeah, therefore we have a boat deck here. They used whatever they got. And upstairs, where he lived with his wife, it's actually an old cabin that they set directly into the construction. It's an old cabin from 1720s that they use again because of the good material. The good materials. It's pine. It's slow growing.
Yeah.
Take anything out, because everything you take out will burn up. And I will take care of you. He don't say God will take care of you. I will take care of you, and no harm will come over you. And then it's very overwhelming. So he is silent, and then the angels say, "Are you willing?" And he said, "Yes, Lord." And then the angel says, "Peace be with you," and lifted himself up and disappears. He sits here and with all these thoughts and feelings, and he is alone. But in the afternoon, his wife is coming back, and he tries to tell this as decent as is possible. But anyway, she got shocked and can't say a word, so he don't know anything how she reacts. He don't know if she is going to take out things or if she actually listened to him or what. She is so in shock that she can't speak. So he waits like what will happen. And in the evening, they of course don't go to bed. He is looking off his window, and then he says 2:15 at night, the fire cannon thundered, and at the same time a terrible hurricane broke out from the west, where sky and sea were boiling, and from my window I could see that the fire divided in 14, 15 different directions, and with a furious speed it got closer and closer. Then my wife started carrying one belonging after the other outside, even the curtains. And everything that she carried outside was consumed by the fire. At noon, the fire was upon us. At noontime, the fire was upon us. And then he also said that he was so afraid because at that time he thought actually that the fire had stopped. In his mind, in his fantasy, he didn't see it come that it would actually surround his house. the fire.
Jeez.
So therefore he was laying on the floor here and begged God for his life because he doubted. And then he says that he didn't hear anything the first time or the second time, but the last time he was on his knees and really thought, I'm going to die now. I will actually die. And then he heard a voice whispering behind him, just read David's Psalm 91.
Mhm.
And in that psalm it says, I will give my angels concerning on you to bear you in their hands, that you not stroke a foot against a stone, and that you will, he will be safe from, the angel will bear him. And also it says, if 1,000 may fall at your side, or 10,000 at your right hand, it will not come near to your tent. You will only observe it with your eyes. And he saw everything with his eyes, also from this window here, because that time it was not a garage there that you could see. The people went by, and all the 10,000 people went this way because it was the main road out and in of the city. And it was in the winter time, it was dark, so it was very hard to go behind the mountain. Maybe a few did, but it was really hard. It was very dark and you couldn't see where you walk. Because in Norway we have very dark in Norway. It will be dark at 5 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock if it's bad weather. And it will be dark until like 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe 11 if it's this district, So it's not light many hours. So it was dark mostly when this fire was. Anyway, he saw everything with his eyes. And also it says in this psalm that if you keep your promise, God will honor you, and you will see his salvation, and you have a long life. And also God is your dwelling. You know that this house was not his house, he just rented this house. But he was not supposed to be afraid because God was his dwelling.
Mhm.
It was not his house. God was his house. So he said that when he had read this psalm that came from the angel's voice, he didn't have to stand up anymore under his feet for a long time. He went on his feet in desperation, and he went up again in joy.
Yeah.
He knew that he knew that he knew. And when he stood up again, then he just saw piles of embers as far as I could see. But inside here, it was no smoke, it was not hotter than a normal day. And he has no endurance for lack of oxygen or anything like that.
Incredible. Were the people downstairs or upstairs in the house still, or did they leave?
Everybody had to leave because on the behalf of the fireman. So the fireman had gone round to take out everyone, but they couldn't save one single house the whole night. But they took out people. But anyway, they had to take him with power. But when they were out of sight, he went inside. And that was just because of the asking of the angel. He says, are you willing? Because if it was not for that, he would just leave, even though he knew that this house would be here the next day. Because why should he stay? But he stayed only because of he had promised. And he actually thought it was very hard for him, because his wife was afraid of him. The fireman he knew personal, he didn't like to let him down and be a little criminal to go inside again. But he had to, he felt he had to obey God more than man. So he did.
Wow. Amazing.
What was his name?
Anders Nord, he is there. Anders Nord.
Anders Nord.
Anders Nord.
Anders Nord.
And something else that are you from America, Canada, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say something that every American and Canadian like to hear and think it's amazing. And that is, he was born on the same day and he died on the same day.
Wow.
He was born 22nd of January 1835. He died 22nd of January 1914. He was 79 years old on his day when he died. On his 69th birthday, 22nd of January 1904, he had the angel visit.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Norway, they say it's coincidence,
Oh,
but America never say that.
No.
no.
That's a God thing there. This is the miracle house. We had to come here first. This is awesome.
These walls are actually from 1720s, and the house is from 1871. And this is so old because another thing that you think is incredible, and that is we had lack of timber here.
Yeah, they have this kind of timber.
Yeah, we had lack of timber, therefore they used old timber. This is from 1720s. So it was already 150 years old when he had, he was inside here when the fire was.
Yeah.
And it's burnable.
Some of these glass panels look like they're originals.
They are
right?
original,
Yeah.
all of them.
I was going to say you can tell by the glass.
That's wavy glass.
And they didn't broke as far as I
They
know.
didn't melt with. You would
Yeah.
think with all the heat.
Yeah.
Were the homes this close?
Pardon?
Were the homes this close together? back
Yeah,
then?
you can see it on the.
Yeah, it looks. I was going to say the photo looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can also tell you that the only woman that died, that she didn't have to die actually because she didn't listen to advisors when they said you mustn't go back to your house. But she did. But anyway, they found only bones.
Mm.
It was melted.
Wow.
It was only bones left. No skeleton, nothing. And they could know it was
It was
her,
hot.
but it was only she that was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.